Welcome to another episode of Sports and Songs Podcast. We're on season 5, episode number 29. Tonight's the sports edition where all we talk about is sports. Andy, how are you?
I'm fired up for this one. Special episode.
It's a good one. We'll let everyone know right off the bat that today is Monday, May 20th, 2024, and we've got a special Soapbox edition only. For those who are not familiar, your Soapbox is basically, it's an opinion segment. There's usually an opinion segment on each episode called the Soapbox or something that grinds his gears. Today, there's so many of them. And I saw there was a fist fight at a NASCAR race. I don't know if that's going to be part of
that. And that didn't even make it. That's how frustrated I was.
And he's got a lot of things to cover tonight. So we don't have a trivia question. We've got no other sports. We'll briefly touch on some other things, but let's go here to this Soapbox.
The Farm Cable TV award-winning Soapbox episode.
The Emmy award-winning Farm TV Soapbox. It's been good for so long. You have so many Emmys there on the shelf in the background.
Yeah, I got a whole other room for those. They just don't.
It's not even funny, but we're gonna have some good ones. And for folks listening, be sure to listen. Whether you agree or not, leave your comments. We're always looking for things because these are good topics, very interesting topics, and worthwhile.
And a lot of times on these, I see both sides of the argument. They need to be brought to the public eye or ear.
Yes.
First one, the Kansas City Chiefs. We've all heard of them.
Super Bowl champs.
Mr. Swift is on the team. Patrick Mahomes is on the team. Pat Mahomes Jr., I guess, to his friends.
Wow.
But Harrison Butker made some news. I'm just going to show some of his tweets on his first before we get to the story behind him. Nobody's told Harrison Butker that when girls play in a man's football team, it's usually the position that he plays.
Yes. Kicker.
Yes. Chiefs kicker Harrison Butker, who told women to be homemakers as a mom. So his mom's got a... Long story short, forget the rest here. Harrison was asked to do a graduation speech at an all-Catholic school. I'm not going to name schools here because I'm not going to give everyone favorite credit.
College. Yes, a college in
college school, which is irrelevant, but you need to know it was a Catholic-based school. You need to know that for the story. It wasn't Notre Dame. It was a smaller school in the Kansas state area. He didn't want to do it, but Mr. Harrison is strong in his faith and thought he should do it, which I got no problem with. He wanted to do a speech. And like most things in the media, they took 7 words out of a 20-minute speech and played just those 7 words and didn't set up the content before or the explanation after, played just the 7 words. They made it turn out where he was saying women should basically be barefoot pregnant in the kitchen. That's the way they made it sound. When really what he basically said is, a lot of you got your degrees and good for you, but a lot of you are going to end up being just housewives because you'll have a couple kids, things are going to change in your life. And that's the way for a lot of women. People in general, unfortunately, most women, you get your degree in X or Y, you can't find a job in that field, so you find a job doing something else. And you're happy there, and you marry someone who becomes very successful, so you're the housewife. That happens. Or you don't get the job in that thing you just spent 4 years getting a degree at, and you do something else, maybe working part-time, helping raise the kids, because that's life in America. And that's kind of what he was saying. They all just kept rolling on him, And here's the scary thing. Behind Travis Kelce, he sold the second most uniforms for the team for that month since his speech, which has me scratching my head. The media's all ripping on him from what he said. How did he sell all these jerseys? Is it they want to burn him later? Are they proud of him? Are they going to mock him later by putting him on something? I don't know. But that's where my confusion is where the jersey's sold. I'm not going to get into the speech. I'm not going to see if I disagree or agree with his speech. That's irrelevant right now. The point is they took a sentence out of his speech and twisted it for media's sake. Here's where I'm really on my soapbox for it. How many celebrity college speeches have you heard where you disagreed with 5% of it, but the rest kind of made sense? You'll see the guy up there in a speech. He's at college X, but maybe they got a rainbow pin on or something. He could still have other points of view that you agree with, But they're all going to say, oh, look, he's got the rainbow pin. He's this. He's yay for him. Did you listen to his speech, or are you just saying yay for the pin? That's what they're kind of doing here. They're throwing him under the bus, ripping on him for one sentence. If you listen to the rest of his speech, he made fun of the Catholics themselves for not standing up, being true to their doctrine. And you figure that should be the party getting ripped on. You know, you're at a Catholic university and you just made fun of Catholics. Oh my God. You know, they didn't mention that part. So don't judge someone on just a couple sentences in a speech. Listen to the whole thing. How many artists have had songs where you thought one song was just totally stupid, but the rest of them was really good? One actor did a rotten movie, but the rest were really good.
Yeah, and I would say that for whether it's a commencement or a speech or we hear it nowadays mostly to, politics is, this time of the year there's debates and things. There's things, you talk about the weekly church sermon. The average person is probably going to, agree or buy into, or 80% of that, and may take the other 20% and say, I don't know. I don't see that. I don't agree with that, or whatever. That's all that this speech was. It was a commencement speech, a commencement address, a speech that was very good, really focused on his faith, the Catholic Church, how his upbringing was impacted, how he met his wife. And yes, when you get out and get your degree, there's very few stay-at-home dads. That's a problem. There's just so few of them. Be nicer to get more of that leveled out. Most of the homemakers are at-home moms, stay-at-home moms, and that is fine. He referred to that as still being the toughest job of any career you're going to do. So very tough job. Just basically don't be embarrassed or look down upon if you're going to make that decision. Even if you have a degree, you need to have those things, those people out there. But he talked about the men, the women, the church, the faith, and I like the quote. So first of all, Andy, here's my piece. I listened to the entire 20 minutes. I listened to his whole speech, and then I went back and looked at the headlines in the papers and online. The headline, and I had to go back and say, was I listening to the same speech? I didn't see anything that was mentioned on any of that stuff. I didn't see him putting down or making any kind of barefoot and pregnant and stay home and raise kids. He talked about go get your degree, do the best that you can do, be the best you, regardless of what that is.
But be prepared. That might be the cards you're dealt too.
Yes.
No, I'll say this right now. My niece's husband, so my nephew-in-law, I guess I don't know what term to give that. Nice. Whatever title that would be, but he's the stay-at-home dad for their child. He's got a job where he does a lot of side gigs, photography. He does some little putsy things on the sides. So he's able to stay home during the day. So he's Mr. Mom. And that's fine. They're both happy with it. They're loving it because they're not paying daycare. Mm-hmm. He's got stuff that's weekends and nights for his job. Some couples have it where their full-time jobs, one works third shift, one works first, and they kind of made it work, So that's kind of what he was preparing people for. You got your degree in this. That's great. You're not going to be the CEO tomorrow morning.
He also made a point of when deciding on where to get a job or where to look or where to live or where to raise a family, the first thing that's very common is people look at the cost of living. Is it expensive? Is it an expensive place to live? Is it cheap? And he said, we're kind of taught that. We're kind of taught that over the years to look into those kinds of metrics. He said, your focus should be, where is it that has a good church nearby, a good priest nearby? What's close? What kind of church service or what kind of church layout would be good for my wife and I, my family and I? That's where you should be picking where you choose to live, not the other way around.
Yep.
And he gets on to some of these topics that are basically, learn to think for yourself, be a critical thinker. Don't do what the normal society tells you to do. Yep. You can stand up. He also goes after priests, and pastors by saying, when the COVID thing hit, your job is not to follow suit and say, okay, let's shut down the church. Most churches around here, the very ones, I think we both go to was shut down. Then they came back because let's open it back up, and then please sit 6 feet apart. Well,
every other row or something.
It's very awkward. That's fine. What Butker was saying is, if you're running a restaurant, a bar, restaurant, a clothing store, some kind of business, yes, for the pandemic, feel free to shut down for adverse things like that. Churches are not. You're not underneath that umbrella. If you think that we're here to, the main thing for a church is the fellowship. You have to still have that fellowship. You can't take that thing away. You can't strip that away. And what he was saying, the first thing that the priest did in the Catholic Church, and I know other churches as well, other denominations, is they shut down the church. View it online. Read it. Listen at home. Well, that's taking the point of the whole thing of the church, is the fellowship piece of it. And so that's where he was kind of slamming the priests by saying, you don't have to follow suit and go along with what the government or the higher ups say. You can take a risk and say, no, we're not going to do that. Come after me. Sue us, the church, if you need to. We're going to get together because that's what we do. That's what our role is. So he had some good points on all of those things. And he really said, whether you're a guy, girl, be the best that you can be, and however you need to do that and navigate those waters. I thought he did very good, but I didn't see anything on the headlines when you're hearing that speech, and I thought I missed something. And I thought at one point, was there another speech that I missed? Was there something else that was added on that all I heard about is how horrible this guy was? And you look online and you see the jersey sales going through the roof, and you see one segment of the population saying this guy is now a hero, another segment saying this guy is an idiot. And now we get us Andy's soapbox topic, because this is it's a polarizing thing. It's a polarizing topic. And once again, it's his speech was his opinion. If you don't like it, turn it off. If you don't want to listen to it, it was meant for that audience. I don't think it was meant to be publicly aired. I went and found it. It's available now on YouTube Public, but that's not what he was meant to do. And like you said earlier, he did turn it down originally because he didn't view himself as that well of a speaker. But I thought he did a really good job.
And that's why the other soapbox is just that only one side of the story is going out there, and it's frustrating. So I can give the other side. That's why I'm here. And I'm not saying in this one I agree with I'm not going to tell you right now if I agree with the other side. I see both sides of the argument, and that's all I'll say on that one, where I can see both sides of it. The next one, Tiffy time. Our friend Tiffany Stratus at WWE. So let's go through some of these headline topics first. We'll get to what happened to Miss Tiffany. Tiffany Stratton faces backlash from fans over controversial Jade Cargill post. But yet, there's no backlash heat on Tiffany Stratton after controversial Jade Cargill post on Instagram. Heat is a wrestling term for people don't like her, looking down on her, making bad air. She's getting heat. She's getting pressure. She should have been fired, according to one star. Okay, here's what happened. On Friday's SmackDown, the following 2 Queen of the Ring tournament matches will take place. WWE Tag Team Champion Bianca Belair against Tiffany Stratton. WWE Women's Tag Team Champion Jade Cargill against Nia Jax. Tiffany posted a video for slapping Jade in her Instagram story, but added the voiceover of black, then another B word, over it. Okay, timeout. It was a wrestling match where Jade had her back turned to her, and Tiffany came up and gave her a hit to the back. So she wasn't like just slapping her rear end as they walked down the hall. Okay, so let's get that point straight. Someone else was playing a song over it, and as she happened to hit her, it said the black B word as she hit her. Now, I don't know this 100% for sure, but I'm going to say this pretty safely. Tiffany Stratton's Instagram page. Pretty sure she's not the only one with access to it. I'm sure she has a staff to help post stuff for her on there. There's a lot of stuff I see for her posted on there is her walking to the ring, her walking in the back room, doing stuff in the back room. You don't say, here, hold my phone, watch me walk in. I'm sure they got WWE people or other people doing this for them. Someone did it. Someone put a song over it. Some people liked it, some didn't. Those who didn't are the ones making all the noise and getting all the grease right now. Someone say, oh, you say she's not getting heat. Well, she still lost her match. Okay, if you follow wrestling, Let me pull the curtain back here for a little bit. Tag team champion means there's 2 on a team. If you look at the matches, tag team champion Bianca Belair, and in the other match was tag team champion Jade Cargill. This is in a tournament where the winners will face each other. Funny, they're going to have these 2 face each other, and they want to make them break up and have one be the bad guy, one be the good guy, or one the heel, one the face. That means Tiffany has to lose for this to happen. But yet this video comes out right beforehand to take shine away from everything else. Now, did Tiffany know this was going on? I like Tiffany. She's a Minnesota gal, Prior Lake gal. She's little. She's 24 years old. But I think she's smart enough to not be that naive to do something like that, where she said, I got the song for this. And if she did, they would have played it in the back room for the view of them over their own phone and gone, hee hee, ha ha ha. Did they and someone posted it instead? Possibly. Did someone else do it? Possibly. Did WWE say do it to put attention on this? Take away from all the bad crap they have going on in their company right now? Possibly. But it all comes down to the company isn't doing anything against her, except for some of these internet trolls. That's who's causing an issue. No one else is really saying much. Like I said, back here where it said, "Oh, she should have been fired if she wasn't a star." Okay, you know who's saying that? Guy who wasn't that big a star who got fired, who now has a podcast trying to make money, kind of like us. But I look at it this way. I don't think she was behind it. I think someone else had stuff on her Instagram, or someone else did it and she hit like. She's just thumbing through stuff on the bus. Oh, there's a picture of me. Like, there's a picture of me. Like, you know, if that's what she did, then shame on you, Tiffany, for being young and naive. Or someone else had her phone. Yeah, like all my stuff. Sure, like. You know, that's what you do. That's Instagram world we live in. But now here's where another reason why this is on the soapbox now. You may be going, Andy, this is old news. We heard about this about a week ago. You're right. We don't jump to conclusions here. The last time we did, we ate a lot of crow here, so we don't do that anymore, Bubba Wallace. We wait a while, a few days after something happens, let the smoke settle, and then we say something. Kind of like Harrison Butker. We could have said something a few weeks ago to a special episode. We kept posting, if you look at our social media, we kept posting both sides of the story. But this one, posting both sides of the story. You make the decision. We're not giving you our opinion on it. We're just posting it. We're just sharing it. Here you go. You make your own decisions. You're all adults. We'll talk about it eventually. Sometimes we get good debate on the posts. That's what this is about. Did Tiffany Stratton screw up personally? No, I don't think she was 100% behind this. Could she have hit a wrong button in error and hit a like or a share? Sure. You know what else? And life goes on. The WNBA. You've heard of them. We've mentioned them a couple times. A few things I want to say here. Kind of falling off that Tiffany Stratton issue. WNBA is playing both sides. I appreciate that. Here, Caitlyn Clark is getting cooked on social media. Guess is a fat white guy. I'm guessing cooked means she's not being treated properly. So here's all these posts. If you look at the posts, internet trolls. Hey, they was waiting on Caitlyn Clark to hit the league. She getting this every night. A nice double-double. Future is bright. Fast career double-double, my GOAT. English language was not a strong suit for these gentlemen and ladies, I guess. But ripping on her here. But then, Angel Reese. Her GPA was below 2.0. It's a female LeBron. So they're ripping on both sides here. So I respect that about WNBA fans. They're not going, oh, you're the face of the team, but you didn't do well. Boo on you. See, we knew you'd suck. Here's the underdog. Yay, you did good. They're not doing that. You both messed up, and they're saying it. So I respect that. That fans of the WNBA Don't care what color you are, what team you're on, where you were drafted. You screw up, they're throwing your ass under the bus. And I think that's kind of respectful, I think. But here's another one, though. Angel Reese was making a comment where one basketball player gets in trouble for gun possession, but a white football player does the same thing, and they don't hardly charge him at all. Okay, here's my flip side on this. Angel Reese is a big deal right now. So she's using this platform to pop off and get her opinions out, which is what Twitter's for, or X, or whatever I call it. But just let her vent like Joe Blow. Just because she was the 7th pick and is a starter now, doesn't mean her opinion's worth a hill of crap. One guy, they both broke the law. One guy's getting charged more than the other. Did you read more of the story on that there, Angel, or are we just going off the cover of the book? Again, we don't read the cover of the book. We read the whole book first.
Yeah, one thing I saw on Caitlyn Clark, just to put in my 2 cents, is, we've been following her for 4 years and watching her as a phenom college player do really well.
Yep.
But more importantly, grow the game, bring awareness to the game, and respect the game. She wasn't out getting in trouble. She wasn't out doing anything. She was doing everything right, saying the right words, giving the right post-game conferences, signing autographs for kids and young girls, really growing the sport. Going into the WNBA was supposed to, really grow the WNBA, get the girls excited, get the young girls, focused on those kinds of things and sell tickets. And that's what it's doing. It's selling the tickets. It's doing this. It's growing the game, all this good stuff. But boy, the first couple of nights when she played, the first 2 nights, you could sit there on social media and just look at the hate on people waiting for her to fail, like just waiting for a bad play to happen so they could, do something. So the first game, 10 turnovers. Now she also was the game high leading scorer with 20 points. Really good from the free throw line. Had a bunch of assists, a lot of rebounds. Once again, a good game for a debut, one of the highest debuts ever. But she did have 10 turnovers. She turned the ball over. That's a fact.
And that's the part that point out is the 10 turnovers, not the 22 points.
All the negative, and it's once again, it's the, it's like the topic of what we talked about last summer with the Penn State swimmer.
Yeah,
what's her name? It was since the early 1970s. It was trying to get the Title IX passed to be approved, so to get more and more women's sports at colleges, more and more women's sports at the colleges, high school level, all this, and to get equal fair share of those sports. Finally got it, and now it's overrun by the transgender men that are identifying as women that are wrecking the sport. I don't care what my opinion or what your opinion is on that, but the thing is, that's now taking the hit because after all these years of trying to get the Title IX fair share equity for women's sports, it's now being used as a negative, and it's derailing all those years to be building up all this. That's what we're seeing here. Caitlyn Clark responsible almost single-handedly for growing the game, and now haters out of the woodwork are coming out to wait for her to fail because they want her to fail so bad because they don't like how good and how popular and basically jealous. And so that's what we're seeing here. If you don't like her, fine, then zip it. You don't have to say anything. You don't need to make a post. You don't need to find some bad stat to prove your point that she's an idiot. She's not. So there's other things to look after. But I just found it interesting how all this good stuff, and now they're waiting for her to just fail. Caitlyn Clark is like the bad guy.
Well,
and that's my point.
Find me the post where she came out and said she was going to reinvent the league and she's going to run away with it and win MVP and get championships. Find me that post where she said that. Because she didn't.
Yeah.
Everybody else said it for her. She never did.
She never set huge, big goals of doing anything.
They're all ripping on her, how she can't do this and she's not all that great. But hey, the women are all drawing the men, and the men were in the semifinals. So
yeah, these numbers are huge. I don't think people, and you may need to.
When they push this, they show Caitlyn Clark. But if she's so bad, why are we getting such good attendance records?
Look at the numbers. I mean,
Yep.
it's phenomenal. This is an NBA playoff game.
Playoffs.
But even look at the NCAA women's the tournament itself with the attendance and the viewership and the number of people that were watched. It's huge. It's no one's talking about how bad the men's programs are, and that's just not an opinion, but I'm just saying women's sports are outdrawing all of these other sports, and no one's focusing on what can the men be doing to grow the game, grow the sport. It's focusing on the women. It's you don't see both sides of it.
And here's one thing: I had Connecticut on opening night with the Sun against the Fever. I thought it was kind of funny. You've seen like Kiss Cam or who looks like a celebrity cam.
Yes.
They had bandwagon cam and showed all people in their Iowa 22 jerseys or Fever 22 jerseys. Bandwagon cam. I thought that was kind of funny. I could see that. I give you the humor in that. That was good for you. I'm okay with that one. But our girl Kate Martin has finally received recognition she deserves. The Las Vegas Aces star Kelsey Plum praises her special ability. So Caitlyn Clark's friend Kate Martin, who shows up there to support her, who gets the last pick in the draft, made the team is getting love on her team because a lot of it comes on coaching. That's the Las Vegas Aces. That's where Becky Hammond is. You're not going to see a lot of crap talk there. You're going to see respect on that team. And Kate Martin's getting it. And unfortunately, if you look at the numbers or the press or everything else, Kate Martin's kind of outplaying Caitlyn Clark for love on social media right now.
And the Aces have won back-to-back championships.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Yes.
So Caitlyn Clark went to a fairly poor team that has
team who had the number one pick last year too, because they were so bad. Got number one pick again this year. In fact, even after the draft, the Fever, according to WNBA experts, after the draft, the Fever still weren't even picked to make the playoffs even. Yet they're going to show her games all on all the prime times, all this and that. Yeah. Yet this team's not supposed to make the playoffs. That's how important she is for viewership right now to grow the game.
Yep. And it could take a couple, 2 or 3 years, and that Indiana team should be very good, but it's not going to happen overnight. The key thing here is the viewers watching her and her team play and with the losing record.
They're asking for the coach's head there in Indiana already, and that's the fans, though, not those in the know.
It's interesting to watch it play out.
Let's talk some football, but a little different football. The Arena League and the UFL. I'm just going to say this. The almighty NFL, the Shield, and college football. We've talked about this numerous times. College football season is going to have 2 teams I've never heard of playing on the Courtroom Network channel, and that's still again going to be televised, and people are watching it. So my God, it's college football we got to watch. But no one will watch these games. AFL's losing teams hand over fist. No one's watching the UFL, or fans aren't going to that except for St. Louis. Why? I don't get the difference. There's no difference between the UFL and college, in my opinion. Not a one. UFL is your minor league, and NFL fan or football fans are not embracing it. They've gotten so brainwashed. There, I said it. Brainwashed by the Shield that if you don't play in the NFL, you ain't crap. And I'd rather watch the small college. I'd rather watch UFL over the Shield every day of the week. Why? Because these guys are trying to win, not trying to be on SportsCenter.
That's a good point. And the UFL, has eight teams, and that seems to be working for the spring league. Yep. Any more than that, it starts to get diluted. The AFL, which is the Arena Football League, has 16 teams, and I think that's why we're seeing this fluff. There's too much. There's too many. There's too many teams, and so it's so thin that it's tough to make it work from a business standpoint. So 16 teams went down to, I think it's 10, or is it 12?
12 last I counted, but I haven't seen anything today.
Well, I think 4 teams. They decided to get rid of a couple teams. A couple teams folded on their own, so they're down to 12. They asked the commissioner to step down. There's a new commissioner, which happens to be Jeff Fisher, taking over the reins there at the AFL, and he says, we're moving forward with 12 teams, and they are going to, it sounds like, continue the season. They're 3 or 4 weeks in. The UFL is 8 weeks complete, couple weeks to go. Yep. They'll be in the playoffs, but it might be the number of teams. You've said that before, and that could be the thing that, if they went down to 8 or 10 teams, maybe they'd be successful, but 16, But spring football, I had just today, Andy, just today on Facebook, was scrolling through. Someone made a post that he cannot, it was a gentleman on the East Coast, cannot wait for NFL. And this is so long, so many months with no football.
Yeah.
I
You
said,
want to
well,
watch good football in September.
That's not fair to say. There's football all over the place in the spring between these two leagues. You don't have to like it. You don't have to watch it. But if you're going through football, you're going through your withdrawals of not having football because it's springtime. That's not a good point. You have lots of things, not lots of options here to watch. Yes, NFL is fun. You can wait for that. You can watch the OTAs and the practices and the training camps. But this is your fix right here. If you are a big, true football fan,
why not watch these two? And Canadian football is not that bad either. I'd rather watch the CFL than the NFL.
Canadian, yes. And so there are options. So
we've said it. We're big baseball junkies, and you know what? I'll go watch Tomball. I'll watch college. I've said it before. I'll watch the Australian League, the Korean League, Japanese League, if Major League's not on, because I love baseball.
Yeah,
I don't need to know the players or have a favorite team. I just love watching the game.
Yeah, that's the true test, I think, of what level fan are you? Are you just a homer, local bandwagon fan, or are you a fan of the sport? And Andy, I think when it comes to baseball, your post that you do shows everyone paying attention that you're a fan of the sport of baseball. Doesn't matter what league, what team.
I don't care if
we know you like the Mets, but yes, baseball in general, you can watch it year round on various Mexican leagues.
I'll watch the Australian teams. I'll watch a Czechoslovakian league for all I care. It's a game.
Yes, it's good stuff.
And some baseball stuff. Now I'm going to sound like a grumpy old man here a little bit.
Okay.
All these stats.
Oh my.
We've talked about this before. The old school box score. Runs, hits, RBIs, average. Wins, loss, save. That's what I need. I don't care about your bat speed. I don't care about your roar. I don't care about your this or that. Did you win the game or lose the game? One stat they had in the 80s that was real popular, they don't even have the stat anymore, which blows me away. Game-winning RBI. Why is that not an important? Of all these made-up stats, you figure that one would have stuck around.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's the one I did like, that game-winning RBI.
That was like the first new stat they brought in, like in the mid-'80s there, early 80s.
And that showed
the relief pitchers, the whole.
Regardless of your average, how are you in clutch or clutch situations with guys on base? How is that? And so I like that. I also agree with you, Andy. I don't follow any of these. I saw one on a ball game the other day saying this is this player's speed, athlete's speed.
Yeah.
Per 30 feet. How fast, how many seconds?
Don't care.
30, I don't know. I don't even know.
You make contact on the ball and hit it where they ain't, you'll get to first base.
Yeah, I've talked in this before that I'm a big fan of the quality starts. That's the only thing that I really watch on the outside of these the normal ones. But I like
the hold for relief pitcher.
Box score, yes.
But some of these are I don't know. Bat speed, he hit the ball 104 miles an hour out of here. Look at the arc on that one. Home run counts as one. I don't care if you hit it 500 feet or 344 feet. Clears the fence. If it takes 3 seconds or 6 seconds, it's still one run. That's all I got to say about that. And that, Dan, get a little lightheaded up here. I got to get off the soapbox for a while. I'm done.
Okay.
That's all I got. A little lightheaded here.
Drink some water.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stats out there. I'm a big fan of the quality start. I do like the game-winning RBIs if they would have had that. I do like the ones. I do like them for the saves. Saves, it's hard to tell, to gauge to what that is and what that means. I like the saves versus save opportunities.
And now, save is a stat that's changed over the years. I mean, the way you record a save is still one thing. But like Goose Gossage back in his day, he got the save, but he pitched the last 3 innings of that game. He didn't come in for a third like Dennis Eckersley. Not taken away from Eckersley.
Yeah.
But that's why now with the pitcher change, you got to pitch at least to so many guys. I kind of like that because you'd have the ninth inning come up and they'd go through 3 pitchers. 2 guys to set up. Oh, lefty, bring in a lefty. Oh, here's Eckersley for 1/3 of an inning and a save. Don't hate the player, hate the game on that one. I respect Eckersley. Great pitcher, great reliever. Congratulations on your hitter when you were a starter. But your saves in the 80s, you would not have survived early 80s, late 70s. Because you couldn't.
That's a very interesting stat. The other thing is if you're a really good team and you're winning you're winning a lot of games and you're winning them all by 5 or 6 runs. And then they show the save category and they're like, your pitcher's down there in 20th place on the best team. Well, you're not having the saves, meaning close games that you're winning is where saves even come into play with 3 runs or less. Now you don't want to be a team, you don't want to be a closer on a team that's too good because your chances of coming in are too less in save opportunities. That defeats the whole purpose of these things. So that's how you get distracted or
the Twins for years had great relievers. Relievers lots of saves. Glenn Perkins, Eddie Guardado, Joe Nathan. Not a ring on their hands.
And so if it's
because we never won the division even, but they got the saves.
If it's stats you're chasing, you can chase those stats. Or like you mentioned with the NFL, if you're trying to get on SportsCenter, if you're trying to get on a highlight reel, that's not the purpose of why you're on that team playing for that.
This is why you play team sports.
You're trying to get the ring. You're trying to win the championship, the title.
That's why I always played sports, was to win, not to be the best on my team. I want to be on the best team.
And it all comes back down to, on most teams, it's the chemistry and the makeup of the team. And so a lot of things go on into those things, and it makes it interesting. What were we going to say on so there's no NASCAR, you said, right?
There was a fight in NASCAR yesterday, but you know what? It was Kyle Busch. And if you don't see a Kyle Busch fight every couple of weeks, you've seen one, you've seen them all.
Okay.
NASCAR is in the next year going to start with have a mid-season tournament, taking a page out of the NBA. I haven't really read much how they're going to do it. I think they're doing it just kind of keep their fandom, their ratings, and their little lull here. The summer when people are out not watching much TV. I love NASCAR, but you know what? NASCAR on the radio is really tough to listen to. You got to pay attention. You could be at the cabin and have a ball game on and catch every 5 minutes and know what's going on. You catch every 5 minutes on NASCAR on the radio, you must be listening to the Chinese guy read the phone book because you have no idea what's going on.
So what we're down to now for next week's episode is we're down to the final 4 teams in the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs. Yep. We're down to the final 4 for the NBA playoffs. The Wolves are in it. We'll be covering that next week as well. And Memorial Weekend coming up.
Schedule note, Tuesday night, not Monday night for the show.
We'll do the show Tuesday night. But that's all I've got here. We'll have a trivia question again back next week.
One more thing. We talk town ball a lot on here. Our friends at Beer Belly Sports up north of Bemidji. Tonight, they are broadcasting the game up there on his sports station for the Bemidji team. So give them a follow. Give them a like if you like the up north town ball stuff. Give Matt and the boys a listen, see how they do.
It's the Bemidji Blue Ox is the team up there. And so the podcast with Mr. Matt, he's also the public address announcer at those home games.
Yep. Former player, so he knows what he's talking about. He's not just a guy who's got a microphone and a website and they're letting him do it. He knows what he's talking about.
Good stuff. All right. Have a good week, everyone. See you.